Good evening, this is Shannon from Profit Maker Ag. I hope that your day has been absolutely phenomenal. So, as we kick a little more into hopefully the Christmas spirit and we're preparing for Christmas Day and the time to be with family and things, we still have work to do. We're still operating businesses, we're still operating farms, we still have opportunities to get things done this week. So we titled this video, Compromise. As we saw our illustrious government, and yes, we're not going to go on a political tirade, we are going to tie this into politics, but I think it's important in the context of things to cover this. Our wonderful government decided, in their infinite wisdom, to print another $2.3 trillion. And instead of doing what is in the best interest of the country and doing what is in the best interest of the people of this country, they engage in a game of one-upmanship and the game of ultimate compromise. And only 900 billion of that only gets to go to the people of this country because it's their money. The other, if you start reading some of the crap that's in that, should fire every politician that's in Washington except the ones that actually voted against the bill, which was 53 House members and 6 Senate Republicans. So, now that we got that out of the way, Ethan, Brittany, Dwayne, great to have you on. So where does compromise fit in an operation? Jason, great to have you on. Boy, we got an illustrious crowd tonight. You already missed the political part of this, Jason. But anyway, compromise. We do compromise if you have a family, and we also do compromise when we have our own farming operations. You know, kids complain when you go to the grocery store, so you compromise and you get them something. At least that's how some parents do it. We also compromise on our farming operation because, we've always planted this type of seed, or we've always done dry fertilizer, or, we don't have a lot of money, so we need to cut back on our chemical program. And we compromise because we don't want to make all of the hard choices. We'll make some of the hard choices, there's no doubt about that, because the dollars have to be spent to put a crop in and to succeed in what we're doing if we're going to continue to be farming. But the question becomes, can we afford to compromise? Can we afford to shortcut ourselves? Can we afford to not strive to accomplish the maximum of what we need to accomplish? Now, I'm not saying that we need to try to spend all of our money to raise the highest yield. What I am saying is we need to work on raising the most profitable yield. If we know that we can get our cost per bushel on corn under $3 per bushel, more than likely, we are going to put a lot of money into our bank accounts, even after we pay the bills. And if we can do beans under $8 and we hit a spike like we have, you're printing money like the U.S. government and the U.S. Treasury, which you may need more of that money by the time it's all said and done. Sorry, Ethan, I couldn't resist another political jab. So, what do we need to do? Well, first we need to learn how to spend our dollars more wisely. As I was in a conversation with a friend of mine out in Ohio, we got to discussing his customers and the company that he distributes seed for. And the compromise that he's had to come up with due to a snafu at the seed company office, to where he needs 7,000 bags of 3 hybrids, and, well, they're out of quite a few bags, like about 4,000 of the 7,000. Oops. So he's talking about compromise, and that's kind of where the subject came from tonight. But now he's having to go back to those customers, his farmer customers, and say, hey, you know, can we trade out some of this hybrid and we'll plant some of this? And he's compromising with them, and they're not getting the best of what they believe will fit each of their fields and each of their operations. And in this compromise could end up hurting him in next year or two, depending on what next year happens as far as the yields. And we do the same thing on our own farming operations. I have a customer I work with, and for decades, his father-in-law and him have put on tons upon tons of dry fertilizer. And they've always compromised, even though they were putting starter on. They figured, well, you know, we don't want to be short. We don't want to take a chance on running out. And about the time that I showed up on the scene a few years ago, we got to look at the soil test, and he had ample amounts of potassium and ample amounts of phosphorus. And so over the last 3 years, well, 3 years ago, we finally got him away from the company he was buying starter from, which was not providing him hardly any potassium in their analysis. And lo and behold, as time has passed, his yields have increased. Well, finally, this year's discussion came around, and he's done compromising. After looking at Delmer Yoder's results in Kelowna on his 10-year study on corn, and also listening to some podcasts and going to several ProAgs, he's finally realized that we can do a lot in furrow. We can cover a lot of the need in furrow without mining his soil. And as we go further down this road, as we're looking the next year or two to better what he's doing, we're thinking about how can we do some foliar feeding? How can we do more with precision agriculture, like going out and banding a strip of nitrogen, a 28 or 32, using GPS 2 inches off the row. And the next 3 years, he's not putting any dry fertilizer on, because we know what his soil levels are due to consistent soil tests, and we know what the trend has been. So he is confident, and I'm confident, that we can maintain and increase his yields. And since we've gotten away from a higher salt fertilizer, we're not going to be putting a lot of dry fertilizer on, which, as you know, if you put 100 pounds of 0060 on, you're putting about 45 to 50 pounds of salt on per acre with that potassium. That's why it's called potassium chloride. So for the next 2 or 3 years, see, we're not going to be putting all that salt on the soil either. Now, the plan was, when we got all this arranged in October, that we were going to take some 0 to 2 samples so that we could see if he had an acid roof, to where all that dry fertilizer had just been working into that first 2 inches of the soil profile. Due to time constraints, due to some dirt work and weather, we have not got that accomplished. But both of us are excited because he wants to truly move forward. He wants to quit compromising and take the easy way out to see how he can push his yields, to see what else we can accomplish in the long term. because realistically, he's probably got another 15, maybe 20 years of farming ahead of him. And if he will do this right, he's going to put this farm in position for his kids and his legacy to truly have something special to build on. Now, what does that mean for you? I'm not saying that we need to just upset the apple cart and change everything completely. But what I am saying is, what can we do this year? What can we do next year? How can our plan look 3 to 5 years down the road so that we know that we're making progress, that we are achieving more efficiently and more economically? So that when your kids or your grandkids are looking to come back into the farming operation, they have something established. They have a solid foundation to build on that isn't built on compromise, that isn't built on taking the easy way out. And I know sometimes the easy way out seems like the best way. But as my friend Mr. Rod Livesey has said many times, it's never wrong to do the right thing. And sometimes the right thing is not easy. If you're interested in learning, if you're interested in working towards building something great, I would encourage you to give me a call or a text at 515-822-7095, and let's see when the next Conklin Pro Ag is going to be coming up. Let's see when we can get you in and we can start that process of learning a different way, learning a different opportunity to move your operation forward. Because, folks, there's some great opportunities. There is some wonderful things going on in agriculture if we just take the chance, if we just roll the dice a little. Because we're already rolling the dice anyway. We might as well roll it in the right way. We might as well give up this idea of compromise to make things easier. I hope everybody has a great day. And Thursday, we are going to do a segment on, well, I'll leave it as a surprise. Tune in Thursday. We won't be covering anything really too much ag related, but we will be celebrating Christmas. Have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow night.